All right, everything good?
Everything's good, yeah. Everything's good.
What's it like to be here at the Maxwell Club accepting this award?
I mean, it's a very humbling experience for me. I think David was asking me about it earlier. I think it's great to win these awards, but at the same time, these are program awards. These are about the coaching staff and the players. And so what's neat about tonight is our seniors will be here, our coaching staff will be here for the most part, administrative staff. Timmy Bream will be here. Craig Fitzgerald's going to be here. Because to me, that's what it's about when you win an award like this. But it's a really first-class operation from the time you step off the plane here. So it's really neat. And being here with Ron Jaworski is really neat.
Right. What's it been like this year compared to last year at this time as you prepare for spring football?
It's I wouldn't say it's easier, but it's much more comfortable because you have a much better working knowledge of your players from obviously a skill set standpoint, from an academic standpoint, a health standpoint. I mean, you really have a better gauge on the mental standpoint of your players, and you understand where they fit better and who they are better. So it's definitely, I think your first year, it's a whirlwind of really trying to do the best you can to get to know them, and that's hard. That's really hard. But now it's a little bit more comfortable because of your knowledge of the players.
And they know what you want too.
Yeah, I think there's definitely. I think you'd have to ask them, but I think they really understand the expectations. On the field, off the field, in the weight room, and things like that. So certainly that's a big key.
Bill, you continue to kind of tweak your staff and stuff. A different team doctor, Franny, is kind of retiring after a long time.
Right.
What went into with changing things up doctor-wise, and how much of a process is this going to be kind of going forward, settling into where you need to be?
No, it's a great question. Number one is when I was hired here, I was hired to basically observe the program and do things within the program from my perspective and from the coaching staff perspective. And so that's what Dr. Joyner and Rod Erickson, that's what they had me do on the day I was hired, and that's what I've done. And now, as it relates to the medical setup at our football program, again, this is not about Wayne Sebastianelli. Wayne Sebastianelli is a good man and a fantastic doctor and has done so much for Penn State. This is more about the reorganization of the medical team. Wayne Sebastianelli is still the head of Penn State sports medicine. He's the boss when it comes to Penn State sports medicine. We just reorganized the team. And I think what's hard, a lot of times for people at Penn State who are fantastic people, from the outside looking in, it's been the same way for a number of years, and it's a little bit more about a fresh approach, fresh ideas, again, doing what's best for the student athlete, and that's what we've tried to do. As it relates to Franny Ganner, Frank Ganner, when I took the job here, was instrumental in our transition here. As a guy that, just a really neat guy that had been here for 46 years as a player, as a coach. This guy was the offensive coordinator of the best Penn State offense in the history of the program, which to me is really a neat thing. And then he had the perspective of being an associate athletic director, and he chose to step away to spend more time with his sons and do more things, family-related things. And I would say you have to ask him, but to me, he was a big key to the first year for me. Just history of the program, how things were done, why they were done a certain way. Even as something simple as the setup in Haluba with the fields. Hey, Fran, why was it done that way? Well, Coach Paterno wanted an offensive and defensive field. Oh, I'm a rookie head coach. I said, well, that's a pretty good idea. We're going to leave it that way because obviously that was the reason why they did it. Things like that. He just was very helpful to me, and he'll be a friend for the rest of my time here at Penn State, no question about it.
Are you surprised by some of the reaction to both of these moves? New coach does make changes, and like you said, bring in his own fresh approach, but there's been sort of a reaction from the fans. That they're some of them seem upset anyway.
No, I don't. I can't do anything about that. I just I'm trying to do what's best for this football program, for this university, for this athletic department, and from my perspective and from our coaching staff's perspective. So, at the end of the day, This is about the players and the coaching staff and doing what's best for Penn State, in my view. And again, this is not a reflection on any one particular person. These are great people. Anytime a new general manager of a TV station is hired, or a new editor of a newspaper is hired, I don't think they're expected to come in and just keep things the same way just because that's the way it's been done for many, many years. I think it's time for that person to come in and observe and do it the way that they see is the most successful way to do things organizationally, and that's what I've tried to do. And again, what the fans think is important to me. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, inside the building, in the organization, they can rest assured that I'm doing what's best for the players and what's best for our coaching staff.
Bill, go ahead, Rich.
Based on the success of last season, has there been a big difference in how many doors are opening for you recruiting-wise?
It's an interesting question. One thing that we felt that was going to be a struggle going forward was the sanctions. And what we found since then is that many really, really top-notch student athletes, not just in Pennsylvania, but really in the Northeast and some in the South, still have a big-time interest in our program because they come from families that believe in great education in combination with great football. And then they come on our campus, and that's what's really neat to me is to look at their reaction when they step on campus and they see our stadium and our weight room, and they meet our coaches and they meet our families and they meet our players. They meet our players, which is really a neat experience to observe that. And so I think over time, the one big issue is that we can't sign as many as other people. We can't have as many scholarship players as other people, but we can still attract quality players, quality students, and high character guys to Penn State.
Bill, the transfer rule still is in effect till the first day of preseason practice. Do you have any sense of coaches still being all over your guys?
I really don't. Again, you'd probably have to ask our players that. I think that our players, like we talked about earlier, Joe, is the fact that they're more comfortable with our expectations, their own expectations. What we expect academically, socially, and obviously football-wise. And again, we're very aware of it. We're always aware of it. It's something that we definitely try to stay on top of it. But what we do is we just make sure that the kids understand where they stand in our program. Mm-hmm. That's what we do. We don't sit there and worry about it. We never have, and we never will. We just try to be, like I've said from day one, be honest and truthful, and make sure that the guys know where they stand in the program.
You had said the last game of last season you were down to 68 scholarship players?
I think it was about that. Yeah, it was less than 70.
Right. Do you have any sense of what you're going to have going forward for next season?
We have 93 total guys in the program right now working out for us. Scholarship-wise, I think it'll be in the same type of range. Uh-huh. Maybe low 70s, maybe not less than 70 going forward. But when training camp starts, I mean, but about the same range.
Right. What are your thoughts about spring football, and what do you hope to achieve during that time as far as positions? Obviously, finding a new quarterback and things like that.
Yeah, we feel really good about the improvements that our team individually and both as a team, what they've made over the last couple months since the season ended. A few months there, we've made tremendous gains in the weight room and in conditioning, and so we can't wait to see that. How does that translate to the field with our veteran players? And then we want to really get a good gauge on what these new players can do to help us. Whether it's guys that didn't play much last year that we think are going to be really good players, or newcomers, at quarterback, at tight end. We've got a guy there that's a freshman that'll participate in spring ball. So, and I think the quarterback position's a big thing. We've got to do a good job of teaching and coaching those guys. We've got a hungry bunch of guys in that room, young guys that are talented, and we're going to put them in situations and see how they react. And at the end of the spring, have a good evaluation on who we think can be the starting quarterback, or at least compete for him going into training camp.
What's your philosophy on the number of quarterbacks you'd like to have on a football team?
Total? I think you'd like to have one in each class. That's with 85 scholarships. So you'd like to really have one in each class. I think that's a little bit different when you go to 65 scholarships. So, to me, you'd like to, at the very minimum, have 3 and maybe 4 going forward, and then you have some really good run-on players. So we have 3 run-on players. We have 6 total that'll be here in August. So the 3 scholarship guys in Stephen Bench, Tyler Ferguson, Christian Hackenberg, and then the 3 run-ons in Jack Seymour, Austin Whipple, and DJ Crook. And so we feel we have a good young room there, and it's a good balance right now. But going forward, what you have to understand is, okay, where are you at defensive tackle? So let's say you have Austin Johnson, who you think is a really good young defensive tackle, and you have Derek Dower, and you have Brian Guy, and obviously you have DaQuan Jones, but DaQuan Jones is in his last year. Well, maybe it's time to look at going out and getting 2 when you can only sign 15. Go out and get 2 defensive tackles. What other position does that take away from? Well, maybe it's quarterback, because you feel really good about the number of guys you have there, 6 total, 3 scholarship, 3 non-scholarship. So that's an ongoing strategy. That's not something that I would sit here and say I'd like to have this number. It changes, year to year, month to month.
Does having so many guys at quarterback now help you in the future with that at other positions?
I think it does. I think it gives you depth at that position. It helps you in practice. It helps you from things as simple as drills and different scrimmages that you may have with young guys and veteran guys and things like that. So you're getting a bunch of reps, and you have quality quarterbacks at each station on the field. It helps you there, and it helps you to be able to maybe go out and get an extra corner or an extra defensive tackle or whatever it might be. So yeah, I think it does. That's what we feel right now.
Bill,
You guys, we can take 2 more.
Came up last week. Is there anything to worry about there? Has that been handled?
That's something where he has to appear in court. It's really, again, like I usually tell you, this is a great kid. I believe he, that it was wrestling around and his foot went through a window, something that maybe he shouldn't have been doing, but I don't think it's, I certainly don't think it's a felony. And so I think he's got to appear in court and pay his penance that way maybe, but I don't think it's something that's going to set him back too much.
Bill, you know Chip Kelly pretty well.
What's that?
You know Chip Kelly pretty well. Tell me something about him.
Well, there's a lot to tell you. I do know Chip really well. I have a lot of respect for him. He's one of the brightest coaches I've been around. He's a very bright guy. He's a quick-minded guy. He thinks well on his feet. He's got a lot of great ideas. He's creative. He knows how to surround himself with really good people, which he's done in Philadelphia, and Philadelphia fans can expect a very exciting, competitive football team.
Have you talked to him much since he took the job?
Text back and forth a little bit, but not much on the phone.
What's he asked you?
That's between he and I. It's just good conversations about football that just between he and I.
Are you continuing negotiations about the game in Ireland? Is that still
Yes.
That's still ongoing?
Yes. Yeah. What's difficult about that is because I always get in trouble with my bosses on this, which I think it's fun to talk about. So what's difficult about that is the Big Ten is deciding whether to go to a 9 or 10 game schedule in the future. So we kind of have to wait to see what they do, because it could stay at 8 and you're still talking about 4 non-conference. It could go to 9, then you're talking about 3, and then if it's 10, it's 2. So we kind of got to wait there. But and then you have to find an opponent that's willing to make that trip. So that's where it's at right now. But we're definitely exploring it and trying to be aggressive about it.
Coach,
What
the
do you
way the
wanna
bowl
do, 8 or
system's
9?
set up, Coach, the way the bowl system's set up now, and you see how some of the teams perform, maybe the bowl ban isn't that bad. I mean, maybe a trip to Ireland might be better than going to the.
No, I think
what I'm saying, Coach?
I think the bowl games are great for college football. I love the bowl system. I've been to many bowls. I've been to the Peach Bowl, the Gator Bowl, the CarQuest. I mean, these bowls aren't even in existence anymore, but I've been to a lot of bowls. So I think the bowl experience is great for your players. My point with the bowl game as it relates to Penn State is, what better bowl game did anyone play in, other than the national championship game, than the Wisconsin game? I mean, to me, I was with all these guys last night. It was really neat to see all these seniors. We hung out last night till midnight just talking, and that was one of the things that they said. They'll always remember that locker room after the Wisconsin game. Not to speak for them, but a lot of those guys said that, and what bowl game can replace that? I don't think so. Not at Penn State. Penn State's a very special place, and it was neat to end the year that way.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, guys.
They need coach up on the stage. Thanks.
Bill, thanks, man.
Got it, guys.
you very
Thank
much.
you.